to be fair to him, since Emery left and since he took over, there has been an improvement on the pitch. I think that's undeniable, right? Being able to, when was the last time we competed? By default, the last time we competed for the Premier League was when Leicester won it, maybe. We ended up finishing second. We should have won it that season too, but failed. A lot of Arsenal's issues, for me, are mental, right? We've got and had the talent on the pitch, but mentally, I feel, is that what the distance is between us and other clubs. Like mentally, who do we think we are? Mentally, who do we believe we are? Mentally, we've failed to finish in the Champions League that year where Tottenham finished above us. We failed mentally to win the league last season. We came back and we competed in an unexpected run. No one was expecting that. But mentally, we failed at the last hurdle. We've had a mental blip earlier this season. We're mentally impotent in the cups. Like mentally it's a huge issue for this club. And I think how they've operated and also how they've played and how they've competed. Until we're mentally as strong as a Manchester City or as a Liverpool have been or as a Chelsea have been in the past, we're not going to win anything. And there's no denying this team is talented, but mentally, and I think that's where the weaknesses are in having a young coach and having an assistant, a group that really haven't achieved anything either in the Premier League. Mental is our issue across the board. And until we resolve that, we're not winning anything.
It's like a therapist in there. Because at the end of the day, what you're saying there, Sophie, is this team is mentally weak. Who's made them mentally weak? The manager.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Mikel Arteta hasn't. Well, I'm riffing off what Jess said too. Like he hasn't shown that elite level. He's not mentally illustrated yet that he can take a team and drag them to be winning a big trophy. Yeah. He's unable to do that.
I think the players are more talented. Like the players to me are more talented than Mikel. Meaning, like if they got a better manager, I think they'd be closer to where we want to be than if Arteta got different players. Like he's gotten all the players that I feel like he needs to get. These players are not bad. Like when people are talking about different players on our team, I'm like, you guys, if Saka went to Man City, he would fly. Like if Martinelli went and played for Klopp, he'd be amazing. Like these players are very, very, very talented, the core group. But Arteta, to me, like I agree with Sophie. It's something about the mentality. And like we've seen even like the Invincibles, right? I hate to go back into time, but like they had poor players in their teams sometimes, but they were still able to win. And I feel like the Invincibles would be able to win the Premier League title last season with Rob Holding in the team. But this group couldn't do it because of the mental break. I don't think Rob Holding was such a big influence on the team where we shouldn't have won the league. It's a mental thing. You know, it's mental and it's like a scapegoat. You know, like Jesus coming out in a podcast saying, well, yeah, because we didn't have Saliba and this and that. It's like, you guys should have been able to overcome that. We were like, what, 5-6 points ahead, whatever. It's not an excuse, but it always becomes an excuse when you have a mentally kind of like weak atmosphere. And I feel like that does come from the manager.
I hear what you're telling me. It's a great comment. But if you've got a manager that cannot incite the belief into your team, he doesn't have that ability to achieve greatness. Go. You're not good enough. Because you don't see that from elite managers.
Can I ask you, Jez? Because a lot of people, when you say, "Oh, just sack him," the answer is, "Who'd you get? Well, what do you do then?" So, like, if you was to sack him now, let's just say we get rid of him now. Let's say like the Cronkies are brutal, and they go, "Do you know what? We ain't happy with you not winning domestic trophies. That was an absolute. You're not going to do that now, so you've got to go." Like, where do we go after that? Do we wait for the right manager and just put, like, I don't know, Airport Albert in charge, or do we go? What do we do? Like, that's the question I always get thrown at.
You go out and get an elite manager who's an absolute bully, and will actually get those teams pumping. Those players, I beg your pardon. I'd go for someone like Simeone, a winner, proven. Go in and let's not mess about anymore.
He hasn't won a trophy in what, 4 years? How long
Sorry?
has it been? I don't know. Am I wrong about that? Has Simeone won?
It's been 3 years, to be fair. Carlo Ancelotti is the one that people are talking about. Absolutely, I love that guy.
He's just re-signed with Madrid. That's not. That's not
well, that's the problem. He's staying.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of the guy that I would have taken, but he's going off to Brazil to manage the Brazil team, isn't he? I can't think of his name.
Here's the thing. I think, you know, wanting an elite manager, and Arsenal have proven like they whiffed on. They could have had Pep Guardiola. They could have maybe had Jurgen Klopp. They could have had, you know, an Antonio Conte maybe, you know, a little while ago. He, you know, the Tottenham experience has left the stain on the Conte legacy, but the legacy is still there. It's a little bit like American sports, right? You fire your coaches and then you bring someone in who can take over a team and win at the Super Bowl. We saw that like with at Tampa Bay with John Gruden and stuff like that. It's just a little bit different in football because these players have bought into Mikel Arteta. So then you create other problems, dressing room issues. The biggest problem I think that he's made this season he may have lost a little bit of trust, but there's two fundamental decisions he's made. When he dropped Gabriel at the beginning of the season and played Thomas Partey at right back, had Thomas Partey not got injured, would that have continued? Maybe. Why did he drop Gabriel? We don't know. And then the Ramsdale Raya thing, you know, I think that's working out a lot better than maybe some of us had thought initially. But he's made some decisions that, you know, again, it's the tinkering of the golf swing. Did he have to make them? But if an elite manager had done that, he would probably be credited for making bold decisions. So I think because he doesn't have that pedigree in the bank, it's very difficult to judge him on some of the decisions that he's made. He's acting like an elite manager, but he hasn't got the credentials to back that up yet.
And the execution.
Yes, that's the statement, Sophie. Yet. How long have we got to wait? How long is this going to go on? Another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
But I disagree with this elite. I disagree that he's moving like an elite manager, though.
Yeah, I was going to agree. I was going to go with that Northside, but go on. Yeah, go on.
I disagree because when he was brought in, it was about Project Youth. Yeah, Project Youth. How come he isn't getting the best out of Marquinhos that he's brought to this club? Why is he not getting the best out of Nuntabaj? Why is he not getting the best out of Kivio? Because that guy was shocking against Luton. He should have been sent off. Why is he not getting the best out of Lokonga?
They're not.
Why is he not getting the best out of Lokonga? Why is he not getting the best out of Fabio Vieira? There's a lot of young players.
You've named some of the worst players on our team, by the way.
We still
and this is the point I'm going to get to. You've just said, Sophie, and I agree with you. Some of the worst players. Who brought them to this club? Another thing that was, Mikel Arteta had to handle a team that was toxic and negative. When he first inherited this squad, we had a whole bench of teams that we had to rip up contracts or sell on. Now, 4 years on, we've got a whole bench of players that we either need to rip up contracts or sell on. How is that progress in terms of team development? How is it progress that ESR looked a lot better when he first got here than now? The other day I saw ESR. Why is he overweight? Why is it that we can't get the best out of Reece Nelson that he decided to keep on? These are players that he's either decided to keep on or he's brought to this football club. Yeah, that ain't good enough. Why is it that he's spending £65 million on Kai Havertz that has never been the complete player when we're supposed to push on last season from finishing second to winning the league, giving himself extra work, and then spending money on a goalkeeper? Did he not be? I'm sure he must have been told that we're going to hit FFP after we buy these players.
And that's the one I can't defend this one, Northside. This is the one I cannot get in my brain. People keep saying to me, 100 million on Rice, 30 million on Timber, Raya, goalkeeper you spent money on, didn't they? Nah, give me those three. I'll keep them all. Why did we spend £65 million on Havertz? I can't defend it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I feel like that's the one for me. Like Nuno and Marquinhos, like these guys, they cost like 6 million, 3 million. They were never going to be important parts of the team. Like, and Arteta's getting a lot out of a very young team still. Like we have the third youngest team in the league. We have young players in our team. But being so close to having a team that's going to win the league, and to kind of undo that with a player like Havertz, for me, just makes no sense. Because Havertz, like the one thing that Arsenal needed more of was probably more experience. Like, I don't think we need to buy any more young players because we have a young team as it is. Bring in some experienced guys that have been there and done it before. One of your most experienced players in Granit Xhaka, we moved on. And then you brought in somebody that doesn't really fit the mold of like that position, but also has not a bad mentality, but is at like the lowest ebb of his career ever. So you're losing a leader and replacing it with somebody like that needs almost like therapy to get back to a place to play football.
Yeah.
It's a strange decision. Beyond the footballing part of it, I'm like, a team that just missed out on the title needs to see that you're bringing in people that been there, done it before, leaders, winners. You bring in somebody that's not that. He needed, like, Arteta spent the whole first part of the season trying to get Havertz to work. So much so that when he scored against Brentford, he had like this whole big thing, like this show where he drags him over to the, the fans and starts celebrating. I'm like, this is not what we need to be focusing on.
It's arrogant, that.
Yeah, I don't get
that was
like,
embarrassing, and
don't
the penalty
bring
was
in somebody
embarrassing.
like this. That's like that, to me, that's arrogance.
And why is he not developing? He was sold to us as a manager that can develop young players, yeah? I'm only going to pick out one thing in each player that he's not developed when certain players have got multiple. Why is it that Saka, unless he cuts in on his left, yeah, and shoots, is ineffective? Why is Martinelli not effective? He has no space in behind. Why is Jesus still not able to score more goals? Why is Odegaard not able to play out of a press? Why is Kai Havertz not able to dribble? Why is Zinchenko still not able to defend? This is the thing. This is the thing with Arteta. Everything, he's had enough time, yeah, and enough rope to hang himself. Because if you're telling me about project youth and player development, there's a lot of players on that bench that are project youth that Sophie rightly said are players that he brought in and he's not developing, and he's bringing them on in the 80th or 88th minute. Then when you're looking at me, when people are telling me, oh, but the squad was toxic, well, the squad is near enough in the same position in terms of bench, that the same way that he inherited it. Then you're looking at certain players as individuals, players that we rate. Why are they not improving from last season? And that is without me even mentioning the style of play that has regressed this season. What is
so that's the thing. We've taken the source of all their powers away, haven't we? We've taken Saka and Martinelli's powers away, i.e. speed.
Yeah.
There were moments last season where we would finish teams off at halftime. We scared the bejesus out of, even Super Kev was saying on our show that it felt at times we got an intimidation factor back at home when teams were standing in the tunnel because they knew we were going to come at them. And again, it's the goal swing, it's the tinkering. Did you really have to like go full on playing the possession-based football? Was beating Manchester City a blessing? Was it a blessing or a curse, Dan, to beat Manchester City? Because it's the blueprint to how we're playing. And we've gone from sexy football last season to kind of boring football this season, ineffective. We had 4 players on 15 goals last season. There's a striker at Bournemouth who's been absolute garbage for seasons and has been lauded as this second coming striker this season. But he alone has more goals than all of our strike force. This is unacceptable. And, the team is suffering for it. That is on the manager. That's on him.
But the thing is, can I just bring up this comment? Because this is what I don't get in the fans, right? And big up to Christian. Thanks for watching, bro. The season is over. Wow. We're mentally finished fan base. This is the thing. We are raising concerns about why we believe we might not win the title this season or a trophy. And all we get told is just, oh, don't give up. We're mentally still there. The season isn't over yet, blah, blah, blah. No one has come on here and said anything of the sort. But you do understand that we're just genuinely raising concerns that we have that could, I hope, do something to change on it. And I'm going to talk about one of them, this Kai Havertz thing. I want to talk on it. I want to talk on it because for me, I look at the left 8 position and for me, it's Smith-Rowe right now. He's the one in the last couple of games that has come on in the cameo and thought, you know what? He's shown me something. It's not been outstanding. It probably wasn't more than a 6 out of 10, but it wasn't the 4 out of 10s that Kai Havertz has been putting out in those positions, right? For me, there needs to be something changed in this number 8 position. I don't think that Kai Havertz is anywhere near a left 8. Right? So do something different. And if Smith-Rowe doesn't work, you try something different. But for me, I don't see Mikel Arteta changing much this season. There's not really a plan B. And plan B could be you utilize Kai Havertz further forward, put Saka on the left, Martinelli on the right, get them to beat their man and cross the ball in. And Havertz is there. Something needs to change. I need to see a plan B because, Babs and Igal were on last week saying, well, we're already playing plan B because Party's out. No, that's not plan B. That's using your squad. That's not a plan B. Plan A isn't let's play everybody when one of them gets injured, we have to play plan B players. It isn't that. So I want to talk upon this Havertz thing. I don't care who comes in, but this left 8 thing is not good.
We'll know whether or not Arteta always planned to play Thomas Partey and Declan Rice together because he'll have the opportunity to do so very soon because Thomas Partey is supposed to be back in action very soon. I don't believe it. I never did from the beginning. I think again, people are like, well, instead of just saying Arteta probably got it wrong, they go back and they're like, well, that's probably not what he wanted. if he wanted to play Thomas Partey and Declan Rice from the beginning together, he would have done that. He played Thomas Partey at right back at the very beginning of the season for multiple games without, like, unprovoked. His plan for the entire time was to do this system. So, but what I do think will happen is I do think that he will use it a little bit more, because I feel like Arteta probably knows that this hasn't worked out, and he's probably waiting on Thomas Partey to kind of fix this. He can kind of put a little Band-Aid over it, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, but it still won't be right. It still won't be right, because it's just, even when we saw them play together in preseason, it wasn't the vibe. I feel like Arteta just got the Havertz thing so wrong, because you have Zinchenko having to play out of position. You have, Kai Havertz having to play out of position. You have so many players playing outside of their natural position. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And so, yeah, like I don't know. Arteta, you play the first time you see Thomas Partey come in when he's fit, we'll see what Arteta wants to do. If Arteta wants to save us, he'll play Thomas Partey and Declan Rice together. If he's hard-headed, he'll continue with the BS that he was doing. Because playing Thomas Partey at right back just was nonsense.
The thing is, Jess, that's when it all went wrong. We went to America. We had a lovely little tour over there, all very nice, great. If you're going to tinker with your technical setup of your team, that's the time to do it.
Yeah,
you don't do it first game of the sodding season, and you think, "Oh, what's this about? What's going down?" Because I'm sorry. To me, he is one of our best midfielders, and sticking him there at right back makes no sense at all. That is frustrating to the player, and it's frustrating to the team. Now, we've brought in Declan Rice, big load of money, 105 million, biggest signing ever for Arsenal Football Club. Yeah, I like Declan Rice. I think he's a great player, but we've just seen recently he's dropped in form. He can't do it on his own. Why can't he do it on his own? Because he's got some rubbish around him. Kai Havertz, liar Havertz, I call him, because he obviously lied that he can play bloody football. He clearly, in my eyes, not. The guy is an absolute mess. Yeah, and when he scored his couple of goals, I was happy for him, because I won't lie to you. When we bought him, right, I said to Lee on Lee's channel, I reckon there's a player inside there. I reckon there is a player, and I just hope that Arteta can get it out of him. Yeah, and he scored he got the giveaway penalty against Everton. Fair play. Yeah, everybody's gassed up about it. Kai Havertz. Yeah, brilliant. Really? We spent £65 million on a Chelsea reject. Why? The thing is, Dan and everybody, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep buying these rejects from Chelsea? Is there some link up that none of us know about under the counter? Because I don't get it. I really don't get it. Because, and we were linked to Casado. I mean, come on. Cucurella, sorry. I mean, what? Make it up. This is Arsenal Football Club. Go out and get some proper players in. Jorginho. Wow, fantastic. Yeah? No.
I actually think he's been decent.
Same.
I mean,
tell me what he did against the Palace game then when he came on.
He got an assist.
Yeah, he had an assist.
Wow.
And he's going to live off that assist now for the end of the season. I'm telling you. This is the problem. This is the problem. We had it with Nketiah. Do you remember? Oh, make your apologies as loud as your criticism about Nketiah. Yeah? Scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United. What's he done since? And this is the thing.
Yeah, I didn't get excited about that either.
Live off 1-2 performances. But the league ain't 1-2 performances. The Champions League ain't 1-2 games. That's the problem. And this is why I didn't really celebrate too tough when we beat Crystal Palace, because they don't even rate their club. They don't rate where their club's at. That's why they already had banners ready. It doesn't change the fact. Having Havertz, big chances created, we're still behind Chelsea, Tottenham, and Newcastle. Would we put any of those teams in a title race? So how come they created more bigger chances after the season we had last season? That's unacceptable. That's regression. I know he's not Havertz. I mean, the only thing he actually does is score goals. Most of the time, we're carrying him. In terms of goals scored as a team, we're behind Aston Villa and Tottenham. That's not good enough. Two teams that have got new managers. Is that good enough? That's regression. And that's stats. You know what I mean? And then you're looking at our front three, and it's rubbish. Callum Wilson, Mbeumo, João Pedro, Nicholas Jackson, Anthony Gordon, Chris Wood, Cole Palmer, Hee Chan, and Bowen all have more goals than all our front three.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
That is embarrassing.
And this is why I don't want this manager, because how can you be going pushing on from finishing second to win the league, and that's our stats?
But is it his fault? The amount of chances we missed against West Ham, for example, is that his fault?
It is his fault. Do you know why? When we got rid of Aubameyang, even with the toxic squad that everybody said was a toxic squad, Aubameyang was still scoring goals. And that was a team that we didn't rate. Let's keep it real. He was the only goal scorer. Aubameyang was keeping us afloat. Even one season, he got Golden Boot with Harry Kane. And that was with a toxic squad, a squad that we needed a whole rebuild. He was still scoring. Whether or not you keep Aubameyang, if you keep him, cool, you keep him. If you get rid of him, you have to replace those goals. And when people say, oh, but we've got goals all over the place, yeah, creating chances for a load of players, Chelsea have got it with Nicholas Jackson. He misses more times than he scores.
Liverpool, but you can't have your captain. You can't have Aubameyang turning up late for the North London derby and then refusing to do a warm down.
Sophie, that's not
you
my
just
point.
can't have any of that.
Sophie, that's not my point. My point is, if you're going to
correct,
get rid of
agree.
Him, as an individual, as a player, as a focal point, you have to replace him. It's been 4 years since you've not replaced him. How do you not see that you need to replace that striker?
Well, Jesus was the guy for him because he provided a different type of game, right? I'm not saying it's the right decision.
Scorer, though, Sophie.
Listen, he should have known that, but he'd worked with him previously, right? So he's given the benefit of the doubt when signing players like Jesus and Zinchenko, who, let's face it, last year were heroes. So a lot of these players, we're talking about Saka and Martinelli too. Last season, we were talking about being the world's best on either side of the flanks. So, you know, players just don't become shit overnight. Apparently in our team, sometimes that happens.
No, but Jesus' best record is equal to Lacazette's best record, scoring record at Arsenal. Why would you replace him like for like and not get an out-and-out striker? It makes no sense. Jesus at Man City, at a better club with a better manager, his top goal-scoring season was 14 goals, the same as Lacazette. And we all deem Lacazette not good enough. This is by this manager. And that was a player, like you said, that was at a team that he was the assistant at. So how did you not know the deficiencies of that player's game? Why?
But I don't think last season, just really quick, like last season, the whole point of the front line was Jesus was doing all the other work and Martinelli and Saka were doing all the scoring with Odegaard. This season, it's different. I don't know what he did. Like, I'm not a tactician, so I don't know exactly what he did to the system. But what it feels like is we're no longer creating chances for Saka and Martinelli. We're creating chances for Jesus and Havertz and Odegaard. And those players are less likely to score than Martinelli and Saka. I don't think these players, I don't think playing with Jesus as your center forward is a problem unless you're expecting him to be your main goal scorer, which seems like what the system is asking him to do. I don't see Martinelli and Saka in enough goal scoring positions. But what I do see is us trying to get the ball to Jesus, and he's whiffing, he's stressed out. He is kind of looking a little bit like Lacazette right now. That's a whole nother thing. But I just feel like Arteta didn't have to change the system the way that he did. I don't know if he changed it because of Havertz, but Jesus is not a problem, and having goals across the team is not a problem if you're playing the way you did last season. But if you change it, then you needed to get a goal scorer. And the way that we're playing right now, we have to have a goal scorer. And I don't understand why he didn't just leave things the way that they were and just upgrade Xhaka and upgrade another player here or there, or just get a bagsman.